I'm doing a live YouTube video. I've never done this before, so bear with me or not. I don't really care. So there's chaff everywhere. Alright, so recently I've been using my children's popcorn popper to do my roasts. When I do popcorn popping roasts, when I do air roasted popcorn or coffee, and I figured it was time I needed to cut that out, so I went and I bought one. I bought it for the great price of about $100. That's a 5. Okay. As you can see, I just went to the thrift store and I picked one up. This one had a feature that I was looking for: an on-off switch. Unfortunately, it's not quite the type that I wanted, because if you can see, the vent just comes straight out at the bottom. The way you want it to happen is you want it to come in around the sides, so it kind of creates a vortex with your coffee beans and it makes them self-agitate, so that they, well, roast more evenly. But I've done pretty good. I've roasted 1 cup roasts in this, but the 1 cup roast and the basically 3/4 cup roast require me to stick this down inside and just give it a spin and just keep it going back and forth to help keep it mixing and agitating. Otherwise, the coffee tends to, and I'm informed this is called tipping, and it is where just the very edges start to roast before everything else does. So I've been informed that that's called tipping. So I decided that I would try a smaller cup, and this is a little more than half a cup. So I'm going to try the fancy little device on top of the popcorn popper here. And actually it's about a half a cup, so with a tiny little bit extra. So we're going to throw that back into my bag. Now these are my the Guatemalan beans. These guys. I've got to say, these have been pretty good, but these are by far the cheaper beans that I have. I have a Colombian. I have 10 pounds of Colombian, I have a pound of an African one, and I have a pound of a Peruvian one. And those have been by far better beans for roasting. These are all manner of sizes, all manner of shapes. Sometimes there's some deformed beans, sometimes there's just big chunks of whole. But they still taste pretty good, and as such, I don't mind roasting them. But because they were so much less expensive, so much less expensive, I was right, they make for my experimental batches, and you know, experimental batches don't always turn out. I tried some whiskey flavored coffee, where I basically used a couple shots of whiskey to try to make the flavor, because I'm probably the only person you know who has an almost half-pound shot glass. Solid stainless steel, made by my friend. It has my name on the bottom of it. Very nice. I like it. I wish I had made it, but since it was a gift, it was made more better by it. So anyways, we're going to try to roast a half a cup. I'm pretty sure that I can roast a little bit more. I'm confident that I can roast a cup, but it requires constant, I have to monitor it very closely, otherwise it doesn't roast properly. So here we go. This one's a lot louder than the other one because, whoa, I don't know why, but it's louder. Alright, so it is self-agitating, that's good. But for the first little bit, I'm going to mix it anyways. Another problem with this style of popcorn popper is that the beans, if there's not enough beans in there, they'll jump out. So let me aim you at me. It's self-agitating a little bit here, so we should be okay. So you can see if the beans jump out. You can see what I'm doing. So I'm just sticking it down in there and spinning it, like so. And that's just until the beans kind of start to lose a little weight. As they lose weight, they'll agitate themselves a little better. You see the chaff coming out. That's one benefit I've noticed with the air poppers, is that the chaff just dumps out into the air. And that's been a big benefit, though it makes the room messy, so we have to sweep every night. So I can sit here and just spin this back and forth like this. It's really easy. The roast is done. I mean, it's already at the yellowing stage. It's got that nice grassy smell. It smells like hay. It really does. All right, so now we're starting to brown up a little bit. It's very quick. I really like the air roasting because of this, because of how quick it is. If I can ever get it up the money, I will probably purchase an air roaster. All right, so now that we're kind of starting to roast a little bit, I'm just going to sit there and shake it forth. I don't think I have to, but it makes me feel like I'm doing something. And I feel like it does result in a more even roast. Alright, so now the roast is starting to smell toasted. It's definitely got that kind of a sweet, toasty smell. Now the Colombian beans are much sweeter smelling. And I would say that it was like pouring yourself a bowl of cinnamon toast crunch. It really is. Alright, so now the beans are starting to actually roast a little bit. They're getting browning nicely. They smell really good. Something that I was saying, that I said was that you should cool your beans as fast as possible. From what I've read and found out, that doesn't seem to be the case. It seems to me that you want to cool your beans not too gradually, but also not too quickly either. Alright, so we've got first cracks just starting. We're just on the cusp of it. So just spinning it like this seems to do the trick as far as agitating. And I can sit there and just with one hand go back and forth, and it seems to agitate it enough. Alright, so first crack is definitely underway now. We got a few pops here and there. Smells good. Nice and clean smell. Lots of chaff coming out right now. I want first crack to happen and be over with by the time I stop. I think I'm going to go for a dark roast because I haven't gotten these beans to as dark a roast as I really like. The smell is good. It's really starting to smell like it's toasting at the moment. Definitely got that toasting smell. If you want to speed up your roast a little bit more, you can actually put the lid on and it goes a lot quicker. And I'm not sure, but it probably increases the airflow a little bit too. Let's see. Nah, it's not agitating anymore, extra. But since it's a clear lid, I can see it very clearly. But it doesn't seem to help any, so I just set the lid aside. I thought about putting a brass screen over top of this to kind of help keep beans from flying up if they're too light. But roasting at least a half a cup or just a little bit less than a half a cup seems to be enough to prevent them from flying out without them ceasing their self-agitating. So first crack is well underway. We've got it nice and crackling, nice and popping. The great majority of chaff is coming out. The beans are self-agitating, but I'm still giving them a stir here and there because I feel, again, I like to have an active role in the roasting here. And it's kind of like, the great cool thing about fluid bed is that the beans just kind of bubble up and move around. So they definitely self-stir. Alright, so first crack is, I believe it's over with. Might have a little bit more to it. The temperature gets up to 480 degrees very easily, so I'm pretty sure that it passes that. But this thing only goes up to 482, so I can't really see any further than that. Alright, so I think I just heard second crack start. Oh, there we go. Second crack will be beginning very soon. I'm going to get there and hold just for a few seconds. I'm going for a dark roast here. I feel like the roast would go a lot faster if I decrease the amount of beans I put in a little bit more. So instead of a half a cup, maybe a little bit less than that. Because what I've done here is I've just filled the half cup up to all the way to the top. I can just do a little bit less and I think it'd be alright. And it smells really good. I have seen one charred bean, so I think this will be a nice even roast. So I do want to hit my second crack. I'm getting there. I've heard the first few pops. I could probably put something on the top like this and get the second crack a lot faster. Maybe a plate or a bowl or something or a cone with a narrower opening. Alright, so there we go, we're getting the second crack. I don't know if you heard the pops. The beans are self-agitating very nicely. Just giving it a light shake. Take a quick look at the beans. They look like they were roasting very evenly. They smell very good. So we're going to grab our colander and dump her out. Put it in front of the fan over here. They're still cooking as we stop. But I learned that you don't really necessarily want to cool them right away. You just kind of want to have a gradual cooling over about a 2 to 5 minute span. And I think 5 minutes being your maximum. Whereas before I was trying to get them as cool as fast as possible to where I could put my hands in there. But, and that still might be cooling. I might have been alright. Because, you know, I can touch hotter things than most people. I can hold these hot beans in my hand. But they're still very hot. But I just agitate them just with a whisk, going around lightly, right here in front of the fan. The fan's blowing at a slight angle. It hits the back of this bowl easily. So if I bring them up on the back side here, the beans actually blow back down under the pan. So here we go. We're getting up there. Let me get these cooled off. That's it. So I would call that done. And we've got a nice even roast. So let me clear some of this chaff on. I've just been sweeping the chaff on the floor, and the reason being is because it goes everywhere anyway. And I have to sweep this room every single night. And I even have to sweep it before I start, because just because I swept it the night before doesn't mean that there's not chaff dust in the air. And because of that, I've had to adjust my sweeping habit. So here we go. We're just going to move our roaster and put our plates over here. Actually, I'm going to kind of clean this plate off a little bit. It's just got chaff on it, but I'm going to try to not introduce more chaff to my roast. And we're going to throw some beans down inside here, so let's angle you down so that you can see it. There we go, plate. Hello. That way I can zoom you. Alright, so here is our roast. And here are some green beans from that package. And you can see the volume gain. There's a significant gain in volume, so here's about an average bean, and then here's an average bean. You can see they've grown in size probably 30%. So that's pretty significant. However, there's also a weight reduction as well. So for every pound of beans, you might get 12 to 14 ounces out of it. So if you're going to your local coffee roaster and you're paying him 10% less for green beans, you're probably paying more per pound than if you bought is. I've gotten fancy. I got to be very fancy recently. I decided that I might want to give some of these beans away and share them with my friends and family. And because of that, I decided that I would get some bags. Now, I don't roast a whole lot at one time. A maximum of about 4 ounces, so I bought these fresh roast bags, and they've got a vent on them, little one-way valve, so that CO2 can vent out of the bag and no moisture or anything else can get in. And when you open a bag, they kind of have a sort of a just kind of a generic bag smell. So at first I worried that would affect my roast, but when you open a regular plastic bag, you can find a similar smell, sometimes stronger. And so, yeah, not really a big worry. Alright, so the next thing that I'll do is I'll seal this guy up, lay it down on the table, and I will write bag details on there. And of course the date. Today I believe is July 23rd, 2018. And I'll write down the time if I do it in the morning. I generally write down the time because if I can drink that coffee in the afternoon. If I do this in the evening, it doesn't really matter. So there we go. And I'll also write down the note. I would say this is probably a city plus or a full city roast, so we're just going to write full city. And now we have our roast, the coffee that it is, the origin, and the date, and that tells me everything I need to know about this particular batch of coffee. And I can give this to a friend. I can tell them, hey, I roasted this for you, whatever time, last night. Here you go. And these little bags they're a little bit costly, which kind of drives up cost per roast, but it's fine. They look nicer. They keep your beans a little fresher longer, and because they're in a sealed, dark container, no light can reach your coffee, which is another spoiler of your coffee flavor. That's it. Good night.